Once again, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Hello.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
good evening, everyone. Hope all of you and your families are doing well. So, I am Vikas Parchanda. I'll be your host for the next 1 hour. I head the partner relationship at weddings.in. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so very much for taking out your time today.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you for this is to the audience. Thank you for also taking out your time today. We have good 150 people who've already joined us by now. Maybe we will have more people joining us during the course of interaction. We hope to make it useful for you. So, Corona continues to make headlines, right, across the world. So, right now, we're fighting two wars. The one with growing infections from Corona pandemic, and the second one with the economic crisis because of this lockdown. The second war that I just spoke about has just begun with several relaxations that have come in from central and state governments. On 1st of June, that we are eagerly waiting for, when lockdown 4.0 would end, we expect central and state governments to restore the business activity close to normal. This means that we will have to cautiously fight both the wars simultaneously. So we will discuss during the course of our interaction some precautions and some preparations that are required to restore. We at weddings.in have been relentlessly working to support our venue partners during this time. I will request one of my colleagues to put up few slides that we will just want to take you through before we begin our panel discussion. Yeah, so our sales managers have connected with 10,000 plus customers who had scheduled their events between April to June period at our partner venues. And you will be glad to know that more than 80% of these customers have been successfully rescheduled. What this means is that the cash flow in an immediate future is not really disturbed. Not only this, let's move on to the next slide. Not only this, but we also reached out to 40,000 plus customers who had raised an inquiry with us for their event between April to June period. And 40% of these customers are still looking out for a venue, which means that we are in touch with a pipeline of about 16,000 customers for our partner venues. Can we move on to the next one, please? So not only this, we are also working with our partner venues as we speak to create a wedding package in line with the government guidelines of allowing only 50 packs wedding or thereabout. We are combining several services like photography, videography, makeup, etc. at mouth-watering prices to ensure that every customer who has any intent to book during this time makes a booking at your venue. Can we move on to the next one? Yeah, so over the last 1 week, we actually last couple of weeks, we reached out to our venue partners across 30 plus cities to know how are they reading the situation and are preparing to deal with it. Because we, sitting in our offices, sitting in our homes, did not have enough insight. So we reached out to more than 400 partners, wherefrom we got about 250 responses. We heard something that is heartening. And we heard something that only strengthened our confidence that yes, weddings is a much more resilient industry and it would bounce back sooner than later. As what you see here on this slide, 88% of you believe that there will be higher demand for intimate weddings, which means that the weddings would happen with smaller guest lists now in the next 2 to 3 months before we see the return of big fat Indian weddings in the winter season, right? And this is what some of the panelists were speaking about, that up till November, or September, October, November, we don't really see the same big fat Indian wedding to make a return. We would see smaller weddings until then. Can we move on to the next slide, please? 56% of you believe that this winter wedding season will witness record number of weddings. Mind you, note this on both Muhurat and non-Muhurat dates, which means that apart from new bookings that you will get during this time for November to Feb period for the winter season, all function that was scheduled between April to July will rush for dates in November to Feb period. Next one, please. So 90% of you said that customers now would prefer in-house catering to ensure that high quality standards in procurement and food preparation are maintained. This is pretty obvious. Next one, please. 88% of you feel that an online channel like weddings.in will play a still more crucial and important role in generating higher demand for the industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, my only reason of showing all this is basically to establish the point that yes, as an industry, we would bounce back, but the customer preferences would change, and we will need to change and adapt to make our industry corona proof. So with this, we get into our discussion today, and we have the privilege of having on panel very knowledgeable venue owners and professionals who have extensive amount of experience in the industry to discuss this topic further. So we shall focus on ideas and innovative ways to not only deal with the crisis, but bounce back even stronger. We have, let me just introduce the panelists here. So we have Mr. Naval from Vivid Banquet in Malad, Mumbai. He heads the sales and new initiatives there. He's done his hotel management from ITC Manipal. We have Mr. Shaji Siddiqui from Lakshmi Villas Palace Banquets and Conventions in Vadodara.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, sir. He's a seasoned hotel professional with over 9 years of experience in F&B and 6 years in learning and development. He's been involved with 2 pre-openings until now. We also have Mr. Parth Prajapati, the owner of Social Territory in Ahmedabad. Apart from being a young entrepreneur in the industry, he's also thickly involved in the Event Management Federation of Ahmedabad. Then we have Mr. Prateek, who's the owner of Gauri Greens in Bhopal.
Hello, everyone.
Prateek is a well-known business personality in Bhopal for a decade now, and he's earned a big name in the real estate sector there. He recently ventured into the hospitality industry by coming up with a very premium lawn property in the city. We have Mr. Amit, who's the owner of Seasons Banquets in Pune. Amit post-graduated in management, and he's an avid learner. He's completed multiple executive courses from IIM Ahmedabad. He's a well-known face in the hospitality industry in Pune. We have Ms. Shruti from Kohinoor ATC in Mumbai. Shruti owns and manages 3 venues in Mumbai, along with multiple other venues across Maharashtra. She is an industry veteran with multiple years of experience under her belt.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. So we have Mr. Khushru Sarkari, again from Vivid Banquets in Mumbai. He's the vice president of group of hotels there and has been part of hospitality industry for more than 22 years now. Wow. So,
Everybody, hello.
yeah, so I guess there was one more panelist who could not join us for some reason at his end. Ladies and gentlemen, I hand it over to Ankit to welcome all of you. He's the co-founder with Weddings.in, and he's our regional head who's heading West and Central India. Ankit, if you would like to say something to welcome our panelists.
So I would like to welcome all of you guys to Weddings Webinar 2.0. So brief introduction, as Vikas has said. So I'm one of the founding members of Weddings.in and currently heading the West and Central region for India business. I hope all of you and your family members are doing well and they are safe and healthy. And I want to start with thanking all of you to join this panel discussion. And special thanks to all our panelist member who has been stalwart, as Vikas has given a brief introduction in this industry. Now, with a guaranteed change in the consumer behavior, now in this unprecedented times, we believe the new norm in this weddings industry is going to come, and over here we are here to discuss about that. So, with that, I want to just open this discussion, and over to you, Vikas. So, let's have a discussion on what will be the new norm in the wedding industry. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Ankit. So with this, let me go to the lady first. Ma'am, if you are okay with it and if you allow me. So we all would agree, right, that weddings would need to be planned differently, at least in the near future, in the foreseeable future. What are some of the major changes that you foresee coming from families now when they're planning their wedding?
I suppose the first change would be the size of the crowd. That will be the main concern. So there will be a pack size of say 50 to 150 at the most. Also, as we know, we will have to increase our sanitization and all the measures that we are taking to sanitize the premises before and after and during the event as well. So we will have to we'll have to increase our staff on that end. We'll have to increase our housekeeping staff. We'll have to see to it that each and every person is checked thoroughly, the staff as well as the guests who will be coming in. So I guess these will be the major changes that we will have to do. We will have to keep sanitizing our premises before, during, and after the event. Also, we will have to screen each and every guest that comes in. We will have to brief the host beforehand that any guest who is even a slightly has a cough or a cold or anything, and so they should refrain from coming to the event. And this has to be told by the host itself. And I guess apart from the size and the way we serve, right from procurement of the material up to serving the food that is made, there will be a lot of procedures that will be put into place, a lot of SOPs that will need to be taken care of, so that the whole event is very safe, and the guest also feels comfortable that we are in a safe environment.
Understood. Sure. So you've mentioned three very crucial points. You said pack sizes obviously would come down in the immediate future. So you also said there have to be very strict protocols ensuring that we are checking every staff member, every vendor, every guest coming into an event, so as to ensure the safety of the larger audience. You also mentioned that there will have to be precautions and SOPs implemented, even when it comes to kitchen area, etc. Right? Let me go.
Another important point that I wanted to state today was from the point of view of all our venue owners, that we usually sign a contract with the guests when they come to book an event with us. So there has to be, I guess everybody must be doing that. So what's on top of my mind is some kind of an indemnity towards the venue owners, because we cannot be held responsible. Like if after an event, suppose after a couple of days, any of the guests who has attended unfortunately happens to get the COVID. So we need to kind of have a kind of an indemnity or an undertaking from the guest, saying that we are taking all the necessary precautions, but at the same time we should understand from where the guests are going to be coming in and everything. So we will have to have that clause in our contract wherein we will have to keep ourselves a little bit of a safeguard sort of a thing.
Very, 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 very valid point. And I would want the audience to make note of this, that you will want to indemnify, or you will want to be indemnified rather from the customer side, so as to safeguard your interest. That's a very valid point, madam, that you raised. Let me go to Mr. Amit. Mr. Amit, would you like to add to especially the point around taking different precautions and implementing different SOPs what can be done on that area?
Good evening, everyone. Right now, the things what are going on, see, we have got permissions to do function of nearly about 50 guests right now. Okay. So till now we have done 4 to 5 functions, 4 to 5 weddings from 19th of May. We have done 5 weddings till now. So the general thing what we do is we take care of all the standard operating procedures and all those things. But what happens is most of the customers, once they enter the hall, all the things what we do, the face mask and sanitizing and social distancing, all that gets onto the toss when guests enter into the hall area. So that is going to be a big challenge for us, that how do we contain the guests to stick around our rules, because see, now we have to follow our SOPs with them. So telling the guests that you have to do this and that, that becomes very difficult part.
Understood.
Second thing, what we really need to take care of while the third marriage, the department from the municipal corporation had came to us. So the main concern what they raised with us was, if there is a guest with some signs, we won't allow them, right? That is okay with them also and for us also. But if later on, if they come to know that there was a guest who was a positive case, in that case they will have to shut down all our business for next 15 days. So that is going to be a very, very big challenge for everyone, even after we start. Because once we start, we are going to take the bookings, and what after that? So we need to be very careful regarding that things. And third thing, the main thing is food and room, the stay and the food, that has to be at one place. Most of the clients are demanding that now. They want everything to be at a single place. So we will have to adjust our venue according to that.
Understood. So you made a new point. You're saying going forward, the customers would prefer having everything being made available at one single place, so that they're not staying at different place and calling for food from outside and doing an event elsewhere. Very, very valid point. So I also have Mr. Mahesh, who's joined us. He runs a hotel. He owns a hotel Ramada in Bangalore. So he started this hotel about 10 years back. Welcome, Mr. Mahesh.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so let me go to Mr. Shaji. Mr. Shaji, would you like to add as to what precautions and what SOPs that a venue like yours would want to implement to give confidence to every customer who's doing an event?
Yeah. See, one of the principal challenges that a property like ours faces is because it's a heritage property. You see this, we have multiple spaces, multiple venues to offer. So the greater challenge for us is to actually manage, the sanitization of each and every individual venue. We have 2 principal banquet halls, which are of about 2,500 square feet each. Mm-hmm. So we do have the option of having lawns attached to both these venues, and having that advantage is, we are still able to maintain a certain level of social distancing when it comes to having guests seated. But we started this discussion by way of, the point of how many guests will actually be permitted into a venue at a time. Now, what we foresee is that for possibly this entire coming quarter, from June to August, we don't know what the district administration, the state administration is going to is actually going to implement. How much of a leeway are they going to give us? So what we have decided is that we've already sort of charted out layouts where we can have the maximum possible social distancing by way of seating in each of our venues. Secondly, what we have also planned on is that each of our buffet layouts will be manned with an adequate number of staff, and we will do our level best to see that none of the guests actually touch any of the service gear. So that gives us the advantage of having our team serve, and the risk of infection is, I won't say negated completely, but yes, it may be minimized to some extent. One of the active thoughts that we have as a team currently is that we plan to install sneeze guards over our buffets. So now we really have to understand whether being a very, particularly when it comes to our lawns, the guests are quite demanding. They require a certain amount of flexibility in the setup. So we really want to understand whether we can have these sneeze guards installed in such a way that they are detachable and they can be installed, just a push and shove or whatever. What we've also already implemented is we've set up sanitization stations, if you choose to call them that. We've got sanitizers at all the entry points of our premises. We are doing a regular spraying of the entire area with a 70% IPA solution, isopropyl alcohol solution, which is also what the WHO and the state authorities, FSSAI, also recommend. And we are also now trying to find a way where our parking areas can also be regulated to some extent. So these are the initial actions that we have already planned on and we have already started taking. We've already got guests coming in for bookings through the season from October onwards. So now the challenge for us is, we have to first wait and understand to what extent we will be allowed to host events. For now, as far as the Baroda municipal authorities are concerned, they have only allowed us to host events up to 50 covers. Does this include catering? There's a little bit of ambiguity on it still, which is what we are trying to negotiate with the VMC authorities and understand.
Understood.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sorry, Vikas. So you.
No, so I was just trying to. You have made 4 or 5 very, very valid points and different points here that I would like to reiterate and for the audience to make note of.
Yeah.
One, you're saying because you have multiple venues or locations or areas within the venue, you would market or you would want to actually position each of the venue basis the pax capacity that these party areas can take, implementing the social distancing norms.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, you raised a point of serving a buffet contactlessly.
Yes.
Right. Which is a unique thing in itself. That how do you ensure and how do you communicate to a customer that they would not have to touch the buffet and at least that big area of possibly spread would get minimized or reduced or cut out there.
Yes.
Third, you are saying you will do innovative things like installing sneezer guards, right? And multiple sanitizer stations, etc., would be there at the venue. So
Yes.
these are the 4 things that you're mentioning as part of the SOP that you plan to implement for your property.
Yes.
With that, let me go to Mr. Mahesh because he runs a hotel, and the challenges of running a hotel and a 5-star hotel would be very different from running a standalone banquet. Mr. Mahesh, what are your inputs there? Sorry, you are on mute, Mr. Mahesh, right now.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing good, with this global pandemic which we are facing. And I think our industry is one of the crucial industries which have faced a lot of issues in terms of, managing the businesses, and we have been taking a big hit in terms of converting new businesses. And in today's scenario, when we talk about weddings, it's an event in one's life which we can't postpone, without due reasons, right? And we try to make sure that the customer is happy, and they don't have to reschedule in terms of not missing the dates which they have pre-planned it. And the fact being that we have to also adapt the life of continuing with the corona, virus henceforth. We in our hotel, we have seen that there are 40% of businesses of wedding have been requested to postpone, since the customer feels that event can't be done in 50 packs, and they choose to opt it to push it to 2021, which we are happy to do that. And when it comes to certain remaining 60% of the chunk, we have encouraged them to do the event without postponing it, with limited scale, with up to 50 packs of gathering. And for this, we have taken quite strict measures to make sure that we have the comfort of confidence that guests can come and enjoy the event. There are two issues here. One is that they say that virus spreads in closed door air conditioned space. So we have to fix this issue to minimize the impacts on that. We have to make sure that we use aerosol disinfectant into the air conditioned space, which also helps us in reducing the impact. And second, as the government norms say, that we have to use masks, at all events, and having an issue with having masks, we can't have the food. We also have to think into all these aspects of social distancing and the comfort. People get ready. We have to make sure that they are having the comfort of having food. And with this social distancing, people also do not want to compromise on this wedding decor or maybe wedding setup. So we suggest them to take a bigger hall where they can maintain the social distancing and also make sure that the event is grander when compared to doing it in a small room. And in terms of food service, I would personally implement having served through a buffet, which a self-serve buffet would be better. As Mr. Amit said, they're using the splash guard, which is a good ideal situation for everyone to use that. And henceforth, we have to also make sure that every guest is checked, and we can expect any contamination to happen if we don't follow those procedures. But I would only say that we cannot take a risk of contaminating this virus into the businesses, right? So we have to make sure that we have sufficient preventive measures taken into that.
Understood. So with that, let me just change the gear and ask something very different. And I will want to go to Mr. Prateek from Bhopal. Yes, yeah. I can see him. So Mr. Prateek, now I think we can all see the situation.
Hello.
That बहुत सारे इवेंट्स जो अप्रैल टू जून जुलाई पीरियड में होने वाले थे वो अभी पुश फॉरवर्ड हो गए हैं विंटर सीजन में. प्लस यू विल गेट न्यू बुकिंग्स फॉर विंटर सीजन. So do you see that there could be demand even for non-मुहूर्त dates? पहले तो फैमिली सिर्फ मुहूर्त dates को प्रेफर करती हैं. Do you see that going forward, can non-muhurat dates also be sold to the families?
Yes, that's a nice question. Hello everyone. First of all, thank you Vikas for an amazing, impressive introduction. I would like to start by putting up some, our industrial facts before you. Wedding in India is around, you must be all aware, a $50 billion industry, having around 20 million people get direct employment from it, and it has been always said to be a recession free industry. In fact, एक मूवी में ऐसा भी था कि इन्फ्लेशन हो या रिसेशन, शादी तो देखिए धूमधाम से होना ही है. तो some government has given permission for 10 packs. some has given for 50 pax. So what in my opinion, जैसा अभी हमारे यहाँ बैंक्वेट डायनेमिक्स होती है, जो मूवमेंट डायनेमिक्स होती है पर पर्सन की अराउंड 20 स्क्वायर फीट होती है, तो दैट अकॉर्डिंग टू मी विद द कोलैबोरेशन ऑफ गवर्नमेंट हमें ये करना चाहिए कि वो 20 पर पर्सन की जो डायनेमिक्स है मूवमेंट उसको 40 कर दें, 50 कर दें, डबल कर दें, ट्रिपल कर दें, rather than restricted to 50% or 100% or 150%. And
Understood.
as far as operation is concerned, what we have done, in a meeting, we have analyzed some touch points in the venue. कि अगर हमारे यहाँ wedding होती है, so venue to customer and customer to customer और customer to vendor के जो टच पॉइंट्स हैं, प्रोबेबल टच पॉइंट्स, हमने उसको आइडेंटिफाई किया एंड वी आर वर्किंग हार्ड टू कोप अप विथ एवरी टच पॉइंट्स, जो राइट फ्रॉम थर्मल स्कैनिंग टू सैनिटाइजेशन टू गिविंग द कस्टमर्स sanitizers and masks and every probable thing that we can do. And as far as Vikas specifically that जो आपने मुहूर्त वाला क्वेश्चन पूछा था, तो बेसिकली मुहूर्त basically in India is a state of mentality. So I happen to discuss this thing specifically with some of the pundits. So basically, since in the upcoming season from November to March, we have probably very less wedding dates. So I happen to ask him this question कि wedding dates कम है, business already impacted है, आगे क्या रहेगा? So he gave me some nice suggestion जो कि मैं चाहता हूँ कि हमारे कस्टमर सुने, because वो usually मुहूर्त dates देखते हैं. तो उनका ये कहना था कि with the support of some पूजा और devotional treatments like सूर्य पूजन and चंद्र पूजन and जो भी हैं और भी कुछ रहती हैं, तो जो नॉन मुहूर्त डेट हैं, जो comparatively less probable dates होती हैं, उनको मुहूर्त dates में convert किया जा सकता है. So customer has to understand this, because in winter season, as you know, that our May to June weddings will get rescheduled. So and dates would be less. So probably it's going to burden us only.
Understood.
And so, I would have more points too. I would appeal customers.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah.
We will come back to you. So you've made very, very interesting points, that there is a way to deal with non-muhurat dates, and non-muhurat dates can actually be converted to muhurat dates with some sort of puja. So it'll be interesting that how do we take this point to the customers so that we get them to book non-muhurat dates. So leading to what you just said, I will want to take a couple of questions to Mr. Parth. So Mr. Parth, what Mr. Prateek said, that possibly the big fat Indian wedding, where people used to splurge a lot, will see a hit even in the winter season. So the other counter that we hear, that wedding is something that gets planned when the child is born. The parents have certain expectations of a wedding when they're planning a wedding for their son or a daughter. There is a particular amount that they earmark in their budget that they want to spend or want to give to their daughter or son during this wedding. And it's a occasion that has so much of social status attached to it. Do you think that in the longer run, I am saying 6 months to 1 year from now, would this big fat Indian wedding take a beating? That's my question number 1 to you.
Hello everyone. So as Vikas, you said that the big fake wedding, after a few months, hopefully the things will get normal, as we are very much positive. And as we say that people spend a lot in weddings and they have their own budgets, okay, but people would like to spend more. But I don't feel that this will be the situation, or this will be the time when they will finalize the budget or everything. They will wait for the time to get the things normal, but they won't have any shortlisted or any of the cut downs in their budgets, because like that's the only place where they don't have any pause button. Okay, so like they just play it and they just want to have fun. So I don't feel so that there will be any cut downs in the big weddings. Yeah, maybe the people, those who want to spend more or they have a very big budget, they will take more time for their kids or themselves to plan their weddings, maybe a year or a two. But I don't see anything less in that.
Understood. So with that, I will want to move to Mr. Khushru, the senior most member amongst the panelists here, to ask another question that came from Mr. Prateek that he pointed out. He's saying that the costs on account of health and hygiene, the two H's being introduced to our industry in addition to hospitality, would increase. How would you deal with these increased costs and still manage the business profitably or the profitability of the business? What would you do for your business, and what would your advice be?
First of all, let me tell you that Mumbai city is the worst city as far as the opening is concerned. So we are just keeping our fingers crossed. Okay, when do we start? Doesn't look to be in near future immediately. So probably looks to be that we are going to be the last to start in terms of business. Okay, whether it's a hotel business or a banqueting business or a self-run business. So we are just hoping for it that, I don't know, whatever the protocols given by the government, we have to follow that and we have to implement on it. Okay. Yes, rightly you said there will be a cost factor. Okay. In terms of health, in terms of introduction, as far as SOPs are concerned, which will cost us. Okay. But SOP consists of regular thing. What we discussed was the mask and the sanitizers and regular sprays in the hall. Okay. And all the other essential things which we need to do it. Okay. From the customer's point of view. Okay. But then, so be it, we need to do it. We have to do it. Simple as that for next couple of months down the line. So I should say that let's not go into the profitability of it. Let's see the customer's comfort first. Okay. Profitability will come once the customers start coming in more and more.
Let me ask Mr. Shaji to come in here. Sir, what changes or adjustments would you like to avoid losses, or would you want to bring in to reduce losses rather, right?
Yeah, there are three factors to this. One is your operating costs that you will be trying to control, which is one of the most critical factors for us. The second factor would be, assuring the guest of the services while you have, let us say in our case, a premium pricing. And what are we going to tell the guest by way of our assurances to them that you're getting your money's worth? So there is still a little bit of debate that internally we are doing, but you see, over the last couple of months, I've been attending various webinars. I'm sure a lot of you have been. One of the main learnings, or one of the main points that has come out, is that a guest will really, if he's walking into a premium venue, yes, he may expect a certain amount of discount. Let's put it, or he may say that he is on a certain budget, but that does not mean that he is going to be unwilling to spend on a premium venue where he knows that he is not going to get that experience anywhere else. So what we really need to do is, if we possibly would need to relook some of our packages, while we are not compromising on our top and bottom line. We also ensure that we tell the guests that yes, this is a premium venue, this is a premium price, and we have still been, generous enough to keep your requirements and your budgetary requirements in mind. So I feel that is one of the first things as an independent operator who really wants to survive this, particularly this season and going into the next season, we need to do. The second thing that I would say is that we need to relook, for someone like us who's doing an internal, our entire catering is internal, right? We don't allow any external caterer to come in, even for big ticket events. So the question will also arise as to whether we would really be able to sustain such heavy expenditure on our menus and on our, the spread that we're offering to our guests. We don't want to compromise on, let's say, the number of dishes, for example. We don't want to compromise on the entire spread, but we may have to cut costs, reduce our indenting, for example, reduce the category A products that we use in our menus. So we will probably have to look into that factor. And very importantly, you see, it's not the food or the rental that really pinches the customer eventually, particularly in a premium venue or a destination venue. It's going to be the decor. So what we really need to look at is, you see, if you have an internal, an in-house decorator, well and good. So you have the flexibility, you have the options of offering them certain decor or certain themes that are already with you. However, the guests today, over the last 3+ years that I've been handling this operation, I've realized that every guest is different. Every guest's requirements are different. Every guest's demands are different. So what we really need to do is possibly look into having more people on a panel of decorators, if we have external decorators, and we offer the guests a theme or a set or whatever you choose to call it, which talks about value for money, but at the same time would reflect some level of the grandeur that they're looking at.
Understood. So you made two very valid points, or additional points rather. One, focusing on the operational cost and looking at every single cost, including indenting costs, etc.
Right.
You also mentioned things like decor, if that can be standardized across functions so that it can reduce cost for the customer.
Standardization of decor, yeah. See, again, I agree to what you're saying, Vikas, but it's subjective. So I'm sure the other panelists would agree that there are times when you really have to, tell the guests that there are certain things that are possible and not possible within your venue.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the extent or the spread of the decor. I'm talking purely in monetary and financial terms.
Understood.
Right?
Let me go to Mr. Naval. How else would you think of making good with increase in cost for your venue? So, for example, would you think at different pricing for non-Muhurat dates to lure customers to now book for non-Muhurat dates and fill in the capacity of your banquets? So a significantly lower rates for non-Muhurat dates, is that an option? And are there any more options like that you would consider?
Okay. Hi. I would look at bundling of packs, okay? Like bundling of DJ, valet in our packages, okay? I would have 3 type of pricing, which is Muhurat pricing, Muhurat weekday pricing, and Muhurat weekend pricing. Non-Muhurat weekend and weekday pricing. And I would have bundle offers, like how Vodafone today has an offer with Netflix included, with all other offers included. So that is the way ahead, is what I'm looking at. Bundling of offers will take us ahead in non-Muhurat dates.
Understood. Understood. That's a good advice that we can all actually implement. Have pricing for Muhurat dates, have it separate for weekdays and
Weekends.
weekends, and have a bundled offer where you can bring in more value to the guest in the same cost that they would spend rather than actually decreasing their spend.
Right.
As what Miss Shruti also mentioned, that we would want to offer more value in the same
Right.
cost. Understood. So let me go to Mr. Mahesh with something very different that I wanted to ask now. And as we would know that in a wedding, it actually takes a lot of staff, right? And many vendors to make any wedding a successful and a memorable event for the family. There is a caterer, there is a decorator, there's a DJ, there's a photographer, videographer, and all the serving staff. But we are witnessing huge number of people migrating to their home state. How do you see this migration impacting our industry? If you see it is impacting our industry, how would you deal with it?
So in current day scenario, with migrations happening, we see that next 6 months there is a challenge for employment, and people want to stay in their own cities or own states because of the interstate movement has become a challenge now. So what we have done is we have retained certain staffs according to our manpower planning for post-corona scenario, and we have made sure that we have accommodated them, and we have counseled them saying why stay back, and we make sure that they are taken care well in terms of health, the comfort, and what are the basic needs. And second, we all know that if a wedding has to happen, there are multiple departments involved. So we have made sure that our catering, housekeeping, and since we have lawns, landscape is very important. So these three departments are retained, and we have trained them to make sure that they know how to handle wedding queries or wedding requirements, because wedding happens round to the clock. There are different sessions, different pujas that happen, and we see that the challenge is definitely there, but we have to hold up to the employees and say that we should not just panic. Migrating to their own states will be challenge for them and to the employers as well. But I would say that we have to give preference to the more of local employment. We have to recruit more local staffs to have this insecurities away. And when you talk about other services, we have been talking to our vendors. We have empaneled a couple of vendors for each of the departments, and we have told them very clearly that we should not have any hassles when it comes to manpower or in terms of their safety hygiene standards. And we have got assurances from the vendors as well that they are taking care of these things in a similar way. I don't think it's a huge challenge in coming days. Things will settle down, but the challenge will remain until the interstate movements are restricted.
Understood. I hear. Let me go to Mr. Prateek with the question that I asked earlier. Do you see migration impacting all the ancillary services like photography, videography, makeup, DJ, etc.? If yes, how do you plan to deal with it? Or how should venue partners deal with it in your city?
Look, because I don't see the connection of migration and vendors in our industry, in particularly my geographical area. But as far as the vendors are concerned, so they would, now face certain problems. Like, we used to initially cater, do catering from outside caterers. But now, since the necessity is the mother of invention, now we are making provision to make it in-house, for the customers, for the safety and hygiene of customers. As far as photography is concerned, what I feel, the dynamics, in every industry of related vendors will probably change. Like what I suppose, like people used to spend around 2-3 lakhs in photography. Now they will now focus on more of on live streaming or customization. As far as entertainment is concerned, what I feel, as you said, that large presses, big DJs is not going to entertain, our customers. As far as new normal is concerned, that live music, will shoot up probably. That is my point.
Understood. So you're saying you do not really see any impact of migration, rather the dynamics of how these vendors operated and provided their services would change, where you're saying two trends definitely coming in. The DJ would be replaced by live music in our weddings, right? And we are saying instead of people spending huge amounts on photography, people could now be preferring live streaming of their events to their family members.
In my point, I would like to add one more point that I used to think that is, there is one more potential that is untapped in catering sector, since there's gonna be very less people, less number of packs. People, the caterer, we will have an opportunity to cater with organic food in the weddings, जो कि अभी तक नहीं हुआ है. That is my concern.
Very, very valid inputs. So the entire audience here can actually take a cue here. That these are actually opportunities to provide more value, better experience to our customers. And if we innovated ourselves by offering live music instead of DJs, the cost would still remain the same. Focus on live streaming the event, which can possibly make a USP for your venue. And on the food side, introduce options like providing organic food. Everybody would want to think healthy at this time. So bringing in such option might mean a higher value for a customer. So these are very, very valid, innovative suggestions here being made. Let me touch upon another very important aspect of our industry, of our business here with all of you. Since most of you are actually the owners of your property, but my next question is actually pertaining the large portion of our industry that's being run by the lessee, right? So here I would want to go to Mr. Amit first. Across the country, we have large number of banquet properties that are operating on rent or lease. Are you interacting with some of them? Do you hear that how are they dealing with this situation? And how do you see that part of the industry sustaining itself going forward?
Yeah, so on the rent part, see, we also have few properties which are rented. Okay, the thing is, we have to have good terms, be in good terms with the landlords, and the deal is going to be personalized. No government is going to set a rule or a deadline for rent or all these things. So what we need to have is, we need to have a personal contact with the landlord, and we need to make him understand the current market scenario. See, now in this market, the landowner is also not going to get lessons from his side. So he is already cautious, and we also need to renegotiate the terms. This is very good time to renegotiate our terms with the landlords. And believe me, the landlords are ready to listen this time, because they also know there is a huge impact. So they are ready to listen to us, and terms can be renegotiated for future also, and for now also you can renegotiate some terms. What we have said to our landowners at two places is that we will provide them 25% of our rent what we were giving. So we will pay them 25% for the lockdown period. We just can't say no to them. We have to give them something. So that something for us is 25%. So it depends on what terms and relations you share with your landlord. So it is more on that side.
Understood. So if I get you right, you're saying these discussions are going to be very personal. So one has to strike an equation there. Second, you're saying owners do not have many options. and they're willing to listen and cooperate there. And in your personal case, you reduced the rent to just 25% of monthly rent for this lockdown period.
Yeah, and they have happily accepted that.
And they have happily accepted that.
Yes,
We
yes,
hear you
yes.
on that. Let me go to Mr. Khushru. Sir, would you have anything to add here for how can such part of the industry deal with this problem?
Us for time being, there's nothing much happening for next couple of 3 months. Okay, we were shut down from March onwards, and April, May, supposed to be June also. So I'm sure we are talking to them. Okay, first of all, first these 3 months, what he can do the best, and from there further forward, can he just negotiate more? I'm sure what Mr. Sir previously spoke to us, that it can be done. Negotiation can be done, and they are there. I'm sure they'll be with us. Okay, they'll do the needful. Okay, for at least 25-30% lesser than what we should start with. Okay, for the next couple of months, and probably he might think that during the time of November, December, when the peak season time comes, you may pay me this much of rent. So there could be a negotiation will take place for a time bomb. What I feel about it. So
Sure.
in that we can negotiate well with him, and then it's both side win-win situation. I feel that way.
Understood. Mr. Shaji, do you have round and take the closing remarks from each one of you? Let me go to Mr. Mahesh first. Mr. Mahesh, if you are still around,
Yeah.
anything that you would want to say on all that we discussed today? What are your closing remarks?
So I would want to say that we are in the edge of the moment. We have to just sail through this crisis. Definitely a bright day is not too far from us. We have to hold hands together and let's move forward. And see, we are in an industry which we are serving. I think we have to keep that same mindset and move forward. And I am hoping that by next 6 months things should become normal. We will get back to the new normal. And I would just want to say that let us keep everyone safe and let us be safe.
Thank you. Mr. Prateek,
Yeah.
anything from you?
As we say, human, is a social animal. They can never, live without social gatherings and partying and enjoying. And wedding is one-time affair in everyone's life. So people would come, back to normal life for sure. What I believe, sir, I'm very optimistic in nature. But yes, as we say, ki pehla sukh nirogi kaya. Keeping that in concern, we have to, go along with the precaution right now with COVID by taking all the protected measures, as I say about 3H, and adopting the new normal till COVID is with us. It has to be a practice in our business. Thank you.
Understood. Very well said. Mr. Amit.
Yeah. For next 6 months, see, most of the people will avoid unnecessary guests. Means only the special guest would be called for marriages and for the functions. So the list will get smaller, but they would have to make it more of a grandeur for the special list of guests which they are going to call. So the budget per person, that will surely go up. The second thing is the guest will demand more and more of personal services, more of personal packages. So we as banquet should be ready with some new innovative special packages which will attract more guests, and we can increase the per person cost for them so that we can recover a bit of our losses what we are making right now. Third thing, what I think is smaller lawns with small guest size. So that would be a combination for next 6 months. So smaller lawns will do good. Fourth thing was the decoration budget will be surely impacted. Every guest would feel that the decoration budget should come down. So we as a banquets need to step in and renegotiate the deals with the decorators also, so that the decoration budget is very, very appropriate with the number of guests, so that the APC will get covered decoration part also. And last thing, what we are facing it right now is we need to have a Wi-Fi banquet hall. What is happening? Last time we had a marriage, and the performance, there was a live performers who were dancing in USA, and they wanted it to be screened over here for the marriage. So this is going to happen. The satellite Sangeet and satellite the Mehndi theme is going to happen. So we need to have our banquets with a super speed hi-fi Wi-Fi.
So one more point to add, our industry is probably going to be, phygital, the more combination of, physical and digital.
Right.
Very, 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 very well said. Yeah. So while we are dealing with a very, very unprecedented event, but there is still a lot that we can do, even in the shorter term, to make good with the situation that we have with us right now. And in the longer run, I think all of us are very, very optimistic about this industry. Mr. Khushru, very quickly, if you have anything closing remarks from your side.
Very quickly, looking at it very positively. Of course, next 3 months are challenging for all of us. But I should see from after Diwali, spike is going to come off for all of us. Be prepared. I'm looking at very positively. We should start doing good business after Diwali, November, December, January. Of course, not as good as what it was last year, but let's go ahead and do it from November month onwards. We should do well. Our booking should start coming in, and very important is take care of our customers. Okay, make them feel great, value the money, let them feel the value of the money, and let them feel great about it to come back to you.
Sure.
Okay. Personalized service very much for this couple of months.
Sure. Mr. Siddiqui, quick inputs from your side, closing remarks.
Yeah, I think it's quite simple. There's just a couple of things that we really need to enforce. We await the standards, and we implement the standards. We ensure that our guests are are well treated, as Mr. Sarkari and everyone else said. And let's not make it into a hospital ward. Make them feel welcome. Make them feel feel valued. Let's reconnect with each and every one of our clients, establish a personal rapport, and reassure them that their event is going to be celebrated in the right manner. Maintain, very importantly, our connections with our vendors. So they understand what our limitations as the venue hosts are going to be, and work with them, and without any dispute, so that everything moves smoothly for both us as the venue hosts and for the guests.
Right.
And very critically, ensure that our team is aware of the standards, and keep them motivated, so that they are also not demoralized at any point. I think couple of I think it was Mr. Amit, or was it Mr. Mahesh, who said that some of the staff have been sent on leave. So this is the time when we actually reconnect with our teams, with our staff. Tell them that right, you're home, be safe, be with your families, enjoy this time, and when you come back, we will welcome you with open arms. We'll be very, very happy to have you back.
Definitely, team.
I think that's the gist of what we can do.
Yeah.
And very importantly, ensure that our SOPs are in place.
That's right.
And follow them to the letter.
Yeah, sure. Well said. Ma'am, quick inputs from you as your closing remarks.
Yeah, so I think now we are all in the scenario of fear of the unknown. We don't know how it is going to go ahead. So I guess all the apprehensions will be put to rest once we begin our business. And as long as Mr. Siddiqui rightly said, we have our SOPs intact, and we take all the necessary precautions, I guess we can again get into business very quickly.
Yeah. I guess one thing that we will all agree, we've all been very, very optimistic, and we see brighter days ahead sooner than later. Mr. Parth, quick inputs from you as closing remarks, please.
So I just want to say that we have to always be positive, and these 3 months we need to practice that what we can do, and we can give our best to our clients in the coming season, and that all services and new innovations are to be implemented, which will be again a good sign for our guests. And we are just waiting for the season to open, and we'll be back to rock again.
Sure.
Thank you.
Great. Mr. Naval,
I
any
feel-
closing remarks from your
I
side?
feel hygiene and sanitation will become paramount at this moment.
Yeah.
We need to work on 3 pillars, which is quality, safety, and reliability the way forward.
Yeah, I think
That's
we cannot agree more on this, that hygiene and sanitization are going to be key critical requirements for us going forward. So, and we all agree that COVID-19 is an unprecedented event. No one can claim to have seen through something like this ever before. It would call for definitely extraordinary efforts from each one of us to deal with it. And we discussed many changes and adjustments that our business and our industry would need to make itself corona-proof. So we at Weddings.in are definitely committed to training our venue managers and our teams on ground to help our partners implement these changes. And here we promise that we would stay at forefront in communicating with you time to time on keeping you updated with all that should be done at that moment. Also, I must say you should watch out for our next webinar on conducting social events safely. And we again promise you that we will bring to you the most exhaustive list of measures for you to refer to. Like, for example, what are the areas to focus to get your customers to book with you? How do you deal with it with minimum investment from your side? In fact, to the details like, for example, who are the preferred vendors to buy at good rates? So that is the next webinar that's coming shortly. So with this, we close our discussion today on a note of hoping to see the return of Big Fat Indian Wedding this winter season.
Thank you so much. Thank you all of you for joining and giving such a great input. And I'm sure this advice will be very helpful to all the venue owners and the company like us who will be helping to drive this.
So thank you so very much once again to all the panelists and for all the attendees who joined this webinar.